आपने थ्री इडियट्स देखी है? वन ऑफ द मोस्ट आइकॉनिक मूवीज ऑफ ऑल टाइम्स। उसमें एक बहुत बढ़िया सीन है वेयर रैंचो इज एक्सप्लेनिंग अबाउट मशीन्स। पेन की निप से लेके पैंट की जिप तक मशीन्स है, और मशीन्स क्या करती है? दे रिड्यूस आवर वर्क, मतलब जो एफर्ट अपन डाल रहे उसको वो कम करती है एंड वी गेट अ लार्जर आउटपुट और अ बेटर आउटपुट। तो काम इंसान कम करेगा और उसकी वजह से क्या होगा? तो वो कम थकेगा। इसके लिए मशीन्स वर इंट्रोड्यूस्ड। सो फ्रेंड्स, आवर टुडेज टॉपिक इज फ्रॉम 10th ICSE chapter 3, that is machines. Hey learners, this is Dr. Rishi from the Learners Academy, and today we are going to talk about machines. वही वाली machines, रैंचो याद है थ्री इडियट्स का, जिसमें उसने कहा था पेन की निब से लेके पैंट की जिप तक हर एक चीज एक मशीन है। ये पंखा मशीन है, एसी मशीन है, कैमरा मशीन है, माइक्रोफोन मशीन है, ये जो प्रोजेक्टर है, ये जो प्रोजेक्टर का बोर्ड है मशीन है, ये प्रोजेक्टर है मशीन है। ऑल ऑफ दीज आर मशीन्स, एंड ये सारी मशीन्स की शुरुआत हुई थी विथ द मोस्ट सिंपल मशीन्स दैट वी हैव। सो व्हाट वाज दैट मशीन जहां पर ये सारा चीज चालू हुआ? वी से इट इज द इन्वेंशन ऑफ व्हील्स। जब इंसान ने व्हील्स बनाया उसके बाद चीज़ें एक्चुअली रोल ऑन होना शुरू हुई, एंड वी एंडेड अप विथ डिजाइनिंग कॉम्प्लिकेटेड मशीन्स, ingenious designs, beautiful mechanism. So today, without wasting any time, let us go ahead and talk about machines. So in this chapter, we are going to discuss simple machines, simplest form of machines जो सबसे पहले आई थी वो वाली machines. Okay? Now ये machines किस लिए यूज होती थी? Let's try and understand it in this next section. In the olden days, ह्यूमंस का सबसे बड़ा प्रॉब्लम था टू लिफ्ट अप हैवी स्ट्रक्चर्स और हैवी लोड्स। इन एंशिएंट टाइम्स ह्यूमंस का सबसे बड़ा प्रॉब्लम था टू लिफ्ट हैवी लोड्स। तो उसके लिए सबसे पहली मशीन्स आई टू मूव हैवी लोड्स, सो अपन हैवी लोड्स को आसानी से उठा सके। सो व्हाट आर दीज काइंड ऑफ मशीन्स कॉल्ड? दे आर कॉल्ड एज फोर्स मल्टीप्लायर्स। मतलब अपन जो फोर्स अप्लाई करेंगे वो मल्टीप्लाई हो जाएगा। वी फाइंड दिस इन एन अमेजिंग कोट बाय आर्किमिडीज विच सेज दैट गिव मी अ लीवर लॉन्ग इनफ एंड अ फल्क्रम एंड आई वुड मूव द वर्ल्ड। सो आर्किमिडीज सेड दैट ही कैन लिफ्ट द एंटायर अर्थ विद अ फल्क्रम एंड अ लीवर which can behave like a force multiplier. Now, the second type of machines that we have are change the point of application of the force. Many a times it happens that force, it is convenient to apply the force at one point so that it acts on another point. It acting on the other point might not be that convenient for us. Best example for this is a bicycle. The pedals are near the front gears which are under the seat, and our wheel that is driven has gears which are quite behind the seat. So it is easier for us. What have we done? We've shifted the point where we are applying the force. So this is the second place or the second kind where we can use machines. Here we are changing the direction according to our convenience. Best example is we drawing water from a well. So if I try to draw water using a bucket from a well, I try to push it up like this, it would seriously strain my arms and that would be quite painful. So what have people done, or what have humans done? They've used a pulley. Pulley is the best example for changing the direction of force. So now I have a rope going up. So I have a pulley like this, rope going up like this and coming back here. So the force is applied in downward direction and we can get a bucket of water from the well easily. So this is also a very crucial thing to understand, that this is how this is how pulleys would help us or machines would help us, and they did it in the past hundreds of years ago. The next thing that we have is to speed up a particular motion. तो अभी ये क्या होगा? The best example is a scissor. Scissor का handle जो होता है वो छोटा रहता है, उसके जो edges होते हैं वो काफ़ी बड़े रहते हैं, so we can easily cut the cloth using that scissors. So this is about machines, or the basics of machines, where and how they help humans. Now let's go ahead and talk about some terminology that is used when we deal with machines. So the first term that we have that is associated with machines is the load. So what is the load? Load is the thing that is that on which the work is done. तो जिसको अपन lift कर रहे हैं, जिसको अपन move कर रहे हैं, these can be considered as the load. तो जो आपका effect है वो load है, and जो फिर आता है effort. So what is effort? Effort is the work done by you. So you are doing work on a particular body. Work done on that body is the load. Work done by you is the effort. So basically समझ में आया effort क्या होगा और load क्या होगा. So if I push the wall, then me pushing the wall would be effort, and the wall getting pushed or the wall itself would be the load in this case. So the next term that we have is velocity ratio. The name itself indicates it is the ratio of the velocities. पर किसका velocity? So first it is the ratio of velocity of effort divided by velocity of load. So basically how fast the effort is moving divided by how fast the load is moving. So what is velocity of load? It is dl upon dt. dl being displacement of load, t being time. In the same time, the effort would be moving dE, so the velocity of effort would be dE by t. If you take the ratio, we end up with velocity ratio as dE upon dl. Now both of these are distances, so the unit of velocity ratio which does not exist because it's a ratio of same units. The next thing that we have is output work and input work. Output work is how much work is done on the system. So अगर मैं table को move कर रहा हूँ, तो how much work is done when the table is moved. And then we have input work. Input work is the work that I am doing on the system. तो मैं कितना work दे रहा हूँ. Okay. So what is the work that I am putting in and what is the work that I am getting out. Now you will say that, sir, won't it be exactly the same? So no, actually it won't be exactly the same, because let's take a simple example. So if I have Ramesh here who is trying to push a car like this, in this direction, yeah. Now the work that Ramesh is doing is going to be the input work, जो खुद कर रहा है वो. Now the car is getting pushed, say from point A here to point B here. Now what happens when it goes from point A to B? A से लेके B को जा रही है वो. Okay. Now when it goes from point A to point B, some work or some energy would be lost in the friction that is going to be there. So ये एक crucial चीज़ है ये वाले example में. So 100% work जो रमेश दे रहा है is it going to get converted into the work that is pushing the car? तो no, some part is going to get dissipated in the environment and pretty much is going to become useless form of energy, and so that there would be a small difference between the input work and the output work. Okay, so I hope you've understood what the input work is and what the output work is. Now they are called as work input and work output. Now let's talk about a very crucial thing that is there, that is efficiency of a machine. So सिंपल सी बात है, कोई भी मशीन है, वी ऑलवेज लुक एट हाउ एफिशिएंट द मशीन इज. अपन जब भी AC बाय करते हैं या फिर गीजर बाय करते हैं, दीज आर हाई एंड मशीन्स. व्हाट डू वी चेक आउट? तो देयर इज वन पैरामीटर दैट वी डू चेक आउट अ लॉट ऑन, एंड दैट इज उसको कितने स्टार रेटिंग है. अभी जितने ज़्यादा स्टार रेटिंग उतना बढ़िया मशीन. व्हाट डज दिस इवन मीन? बेसिकली मीन्स हाउ एफिशिएंट इट इज in converting the electrical energy that is supplied to it into the work that it is doing. तो ये बहुत इंपॉर्टेंट है कि वर्क इनपुट और वर्क आउटपुट कितना हो रहा है. सो एफिशिएंसी इज द रेशियो ऑफ वर्क आउटपुट डिवाइडेड बाय वर्क इनपुट. कि भाई फॉर अ गिवन अमाउंट ऑफ इनपुट ऑफ वर्क इनपुट आउटपुट कितना हो रहा है. सो इफ द एफिशिएंसी ऑफ द मशीन इज लार्जर, तो इफेक्टिवली क्या होगा? इफ ईटा, नाउ दिस इज अ ग्रीक लेटर ईटा, एन की तरह दिखता है पर ईटा बोलते हैं उसको, क्वाइट फनी बट या. सो दिस ईटा इज वर्क आउटपुट डिवाइडेड बाय वर्क इनपुट. तो इनपुट वर्क, आउटपुट वर्क डिवाइडेड बाय आउटपुट वर्क डिवाइडेड बाय इनपुट वर्क. दिस इज ईटा और एफिशिएंसी. तो अगर देयर इज अ मशीन हुज एफिशिएंसी, मोटा मोटा भी समझ लेते कि ये कर क्या रहा है. या सो से सपोज आई गिव 100 यूनिट्स, माय एफिशिएंसी इज से 30% एंड माय इनपुट वर्क इज से 100 यूनिट्स. Okay, so what would be my output work? Okay, so अगर अपन इसको देख लेंगे तो it would be what? तो 30% is equal to work output divided by 100, or we can get it as 30 upon 100 multiplied by 100 is equal to work output. मतलब क्या हुआ? जो मेरा आउटपुट वर्क है वो कितना हो गया? 30 यूनिट्स. नाउ दिस इज क्वाइट स्केरी. इसका मतलब ये हो गया कि इफ 100 जूल्स अगर मैं इनपुट दे रहा हूं तो मेरे को आउटपुट बस 30 जूल्स मिल रहा है. रिमेनिंग 70 जूल्स इज गेटिंग वेस्टेड इन द फॉर्म ऑफ हीट, इन द फॉर्म ऑफ लाइट, इन द फॉर्म ऑफ साउंड. अलग अलग तरीके से वो वेस्ट हो रहा है, एंड वी आर नॉट गोइंग टू यूटिलाइज इट टू 100%. सो वेन एवर वी लुक एट एनी मशीन, वी ऑलवेज चेक आउट इट्स एफिशिएंसी. इसी की जगह पे अगर 90% एफिशिएंसी होता तो इफ आई एम पुटिंग इन 100 यूनिट्स आई वुड गेट आउटपुट एज 90 यूनिट्स, विच आई कैन फेयरली डील विद. बट ये बहुत डेंजरस है. अभी ये सारी जगहों पे यूज होता है. सो जस्ट फॉर एन एग्जाम्पल, इफ यू ड्राइव अ बाइक, तो जो बाइक का एफिशिएंसी ज़्यादा है उसका एवरेज भी ज़्यादा रहता है. एंड यू टेक दोज हाई एंड सुपर बाइक्स, all of us know how much the average is, ranging from anything like 8 kilometers per liter to 13 to maximum 14 kilometers per liter. On the contrary, there are bikes which can go 60, 80 or even 90 kilometers per liter, provided that they are driven in a particular manner. तो ये बहुत इंपॉर्टेंट चीज़ें ध्यान में रखनी है व्हेन वी टॉक अबाउट अ मशीन. उसका एफिशिएंसी कितना है? हमेशा एफिशिएंसी ज़्यादा होना चाहिए. एफिशिएंसी ज़्यादा होने के प्रॉब्लम्स क्या है? देर आर अदर प्रॉब्लम्स दैट आर देयर एज वेल दैट कम अलॉन्ग विद इट. मशीन्स गेट एक्सपेंसिव. So if you buy a 3-star AC and a 5-star AC, a 5-star AC would always be expensive as compared to a 3-star AC because it has extra circuitry in it so that it can use the energy efficiently. So this was about efficiency of a machine. So the next thing that we have is principle of a machine. बहुत सिंपल सी चीज़ है. Whatever energy we are giving to the machine, same amount of energy should come out. So the output energy would be equal to the input energy. Now there is a small catch here, very silent catch, but it is there. Okay, so let's figure this out. Let's consider a simple example. Okay, I have a fan. which is a machine. So what is happening? So we have a fan like this, and it's turning. Okay, now it is connected to a switchboard. So we have a switchboard here where it is connected. So what is the input energy? It is electricity. Electricity is the energy that is getting in, that is turning the fan. Now, what is the output energy that we have? There are quite a bit of things that are going to be there. The first that we have is mechanical energy. जिसमें क्या हो रहा है, वो घुमा रहा है फैन को गोल 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 गोल. दूसरी चीज है, no matter what fan it is always going to produce some heat. Now fans काम करते हैं magnetic energy पे, so it's a motor, basically magnets turning around. Okay, so उसमें हो जाएगा थोड़ा सा heat energy आ जाएगा, फिर आ जाएगा magnetic energy, ओके तो ये तीन तो 100% आने वाले हैं. मैकेनिकल एनर्जी, हीट एनर्जी, मैग्नेटिक एनर्जी. मैकेनिकल एनर्जी जो है वो तो रोटेट कर रहा है, तो दैट इज द आउटपुट एनर्जी. ये हीट और ये मैग्नेटिक एनर्जी है, ये इसमें मेरा थोड़ा सा एक्स्ट्रा एनर्जी खर्च होने वाला है. सो माई इलेक्ट्रिकल एनर्जी और इलेक्ट्रिकल एनर्जी शुड बी इक्वल टू द सम ऑफ ऑल थ्री. नाउ सपोज फैन पुराना हो गया, इट वुड ऑल्सो प्रोड्यूस अ साउंड एनर्जी. तो उसमें थोड़ा सा साउंड आ रहा है, कर 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 कर, वो एनर्जी कहाँ से आ रही है? वो भी तो यही से आ रही है. सो द फोर्थ थिंग दैट वी आर गोइंग टू गेट इज द साउंड एनर्जी. ओके, उसके बाद एक और चीज है जहां पर एनर्जी वेस्ट होने वाली है, जो अपन ने ध्यान में ही नहीं लेते हैं अपन जनरली, बिकॉज वी डोंट कंसिडर द रेजिस्टेंस ऑफ एयर. तो वो आ जाएगा फ्रिक्शनल एनर्जी. तो ऑल इन ऑल मुझे चाहिए सिर्फ मैकेनिकल एनर्जी, बट दिस आई एम गेटिंग एज द एक्स्ट्रा फॉर्म्स ऑफ एनर्जी दैट आर गोइंग टू बी देयर, एंड you see they are going to be so small that we cannot even utilize them. So the electrical energy that I am supplying to the fan is giving me mechanical energy plus all these energies. Now at the end of the day, what should happen? The output energy should be equal to the input energy. Now this is my output energy, this is my input energy. I've written it the other way around. Yeah, so ठीक है. So basically these two need to be equal. Now these are useless forms of energy. Energy is going to get dissipated in these ways. That's why the efficiency of the fan would get reduced. So the companies have come up with various techniques to increase the efficiency. How are they increasing the efficiency? By reducing these forms of energy. Okay, so how are they going to reduce the how are they going to increase the efficiency? It is by reducing these forms of energy where the energy is getting wasted. So this was about principle of a machine. Now for an ideal machine, maybe ideal machine क्या है? तो it is that perfect machine that is there, जिसका efficiency 100% है. मतलब क्या? तो इनपुट एनर्जी इज इक्वल टू आउटपुट एनर्जी. पर भाई जब भी आइडियल, कोई भी चीज आइडियल होती है, इट इज imaginary, it doesn't exist in real life, so it doesn't exist. Okay, ये actual machine है जहाँ पर certain amount of energy is going to be wasted no matter what you do. So this was about a principle of a machine, ideal machines and actual machines. So this is an actual machine. We can idealize it by theoretically reducing all these forms of energy. And अभी hypothesis है तो कुछ भी कर सकते हैं, क्योंकि ख्याली पुलाव का तो कोई लिमिट होता नहीं है. So we can say कि okay, we'll use so and so system so that the heat energy, the mechanical energy, the sound energy and the frictional energy would become zero. Then all of my input work would be equal to my output work. So this was about principle of machines. The next thing that we have is the relationship between efficiency, mechanical advantage and velocity ratio and mechanical advantage. So what do we know about our efficiency? Our efficiency is input work output divided by work input. Our efficiency is work output divided by work input. Now what is work input? Work input is the work that is given in by the person, or it's the effort wala work. So the force here is the effort and the displacement is dE. We know that work done is equal to force into displacement. So we get work input as E times dE and work output as L times dL. Now, so efficiency would be work output upon work input. I put in both the values of input and output work as L times dL upon E times dE. Now, L upon E we can separate it out and iska reciprocal le liya and I can write it as 1 upon dE upon dL. Now why so? Because dE upon dL is equal to my velocity ratio. So I can clearly put the velocity ratio down here, giving me my efficiency is equal to mechanical advantage divided by velocity ratio, or my mechanical advantage is equal to efficiency multiplied by my velocity ratio. So this is the relation between my efficiency, mechanical advantage and velocity ratio. So whenever we talk about machines, you have to consider these 3 points that are there, that is mechanical advantage, efficiency and velocity ratio. Okay, so that was about machines in general. Now let us talk about the special kind of machines that so this was about the simple machines that we have. Now let us talk about a special kind of machines that we have. They're called as levers. Some people call them levers, some people call them levers. So we'll go ahead with levers. So what are levers? At the starting I had talked about Archimedes and a statement that he had passed that give me a lever large enough and a fulcrum and I would move the earth. So these were the very first kind of machines that humans ever used. So what is a lever? It is generally a straight or a bent bar which is able to rotate on a fixed point. So पहली चीज जो आपके ध्यान में आनी चाहिए, that would be opening a can. डब्बा होता है, चम्मच ऐसा लगा के उसको खोल देते हैं उसको. So we do it a lot of times, particularly with paint cans and all. Specifically in India we do it a lot of times. So this is the easiest lever that we actually find around us. So let us understand so we figured out what a lever is. Now let us understand the principle of levers. Now levers basically are of 3 kinds. The kinds of levers we are going to study in the next part, but for the time being just understand that there are 3 kinds of levers that's shown in the figure, where E represents the effort, L represents the load and F represents the fulcrum. Now so what do we have here? So in the first case you see the fulcrum is at the center, effort and load are on the other ends, both pointing in the same direction, that is downwards. Okay, this we've already studied in our first chapter where we talked about the principle of moments, where the clockwise moment would be equal to the anti-clockwise moment would be equal to the clockwise moment. So we've already discussed it. Now we are elaborating, or we are taking it to the next level now. If the fulcrum is here on one side, in the center we have the load and at the other end we have the effort, then this would also be a kind of lever. This is the second kind of lever, and then here we have the fulcrum on one side, effort at the center and load at the edge. So these are the 3 levers that we have, and what do they have in common? So that is the what do they have in common? So it is the principle of levers, which tells us that load into load arm is equal to effort into effort arm. This is exactly same to what we studied in principle of moments, where the anti-clockwise moment was always equal to the clockwise moment. The anti-clockwise moment was force multiplied by the distance in the anti-clockwise direction, and the clockwise moment was the force multiplied by the distance in the clockwise sense. So here also exactly same thing is happening. Load into load arm and force into force arm. Load into load arm, you see in all these cases is going to produce, in this case, in this case, in this case, and in this case is going to produce a turning effect in the clockwise direction. And an effort into effort arm, it is always going to produce a moment in the anti-clockwise direction. So effectively we can say that L multiplied by FB in all these cases. So here it would be L multiplied by FB. This would be the FB taken. In this case it would be L multiplied by FB, and in this case it would be taken as L multiplied by FB, and E, it should be equal to E multiplied by FA, giving us L upon E is equal to FA upon FB. So now let's go ahead to the previous topic that we had talked about, which was mechanical advantage. We know that mechanical advantage is equal to L upon E. So we can write mechanical advantage is equal to effort arm upon load arm. This is the principle of lever. अभी इसमें दिख क्या रहा है, तो एफर्ट आर्म और लोड आर्म है. सिंपल सी बात है, अगर एफर्ट आर्म बड़ा होएगा तो मैकेनिकल एडवांटेज, एफर्ट आर्म इज लार्जर देन लोड आर्म, देन मैकेनिकल एडवांटेज वुड बी मोर. Effort arm is less than the load arm, mechanical advantage would be less. So this is what we would be looking in the next part. So यहाँ पर basically तीन चीजें हो सकती है. फर्स्ट केस यू सी फल्क्रम सेंटर में दोनों के, तो क्या हो जाएगा इधर, तो MA कितना होना चाहिए इसका, MA should be equal to 1. Why is it? Because FA is equal to FB, दोनों इक्वल है. ओके. सेकेंड केस में क्या होएगा, तो FA is in this case FA is larger than FB. ये वाली केस में FA is larger than FB. So the mechanical advantage would be obviously greater than 1 because my FA is larger than FB. And in the third case my mechanical advantage would be less than 1 because my FA is less than FB. So ये सारी चीज़ें डिपेंड करेंगी, मेरा मैकेनिकल एडवांटेज डिपेंड करेगा मेरा फोर्स आर्म और मेरा लोड आर्म कितना बड़ा है उसके ऊपर. So this was about class 1 lever. Now what are you going to remember when we talk about class 1 lever? The fulcrum is at the center. Now if we shift it and we change the fulcrum to the other end, meaning the fulcrum being here, and now in the second class of lever we have the fulcrum at the end, the load is at the center, and the effort is pushing upwards at the end. The example is a bottle opener as shown up here, or a nut cracker as shown up here. So you see the effort is at one end, the load is at the center, and the fulcrum is at the end. We also have a wheelbarrow as shown up here, where the wheel forms the fulcrum, the load is in the trolley, and efforts are in our hands, given by our hands. Now let's quickly go ahead with the third kind of lever. Let us go ahead with the third kind of lever that we have, where we have mechanical advantage is less than 1, FA is less than FB. So we would have the fulcrum up here, the effort here, and the load. The third kind of lever that we have is lifting a load like this. You see, the effort is given by my muscle, the load is here, and this is my fulcrum. So I can say that this is the fulcrum, this is the effort, and this is my load. So this was about simple machines. In the next part we are going to discuss pulleys. So please stay tuned. We are also going to come up with videos that are going to help you to study for your upcoming board exams. So please stay tuned. This was Dr. Rishi from the Learners Academy.